There we go. This is WZRD Chicago 88.3 FM. We have with us at Wizard today, well, via Zoom, Dantès Alexander, EDM artist, electronic dance music is EDM. Hi, Dantès. How are you today?
Good. How are you, Miss Wizard? It's been a long time since I've been back on radio in Chicago, so it's a privilege to see your face. It's so familiar and so beautiful and so bright. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you, Dantès. Well, first of all, for the listeners who maybe did not catch our previous interview, what you are an EDM electronic dance music artist. So, what is electronic dance music?
Well, I think electronic dance music pretty much is anything that's classified, I suppose, outside of the norm. I would like to think of myself as a multi-genre artist. In fact, with the New Jack City project that's out now currently, it's more of a disco funk inspired project and house project with maybe a slight EDM edge, but overall, it's heavily a disco and funk record. So I think EDM is unfortunately just a broad categorization of anything that just doesn't fit into the normal tastes of what people listen to.
Well, it's like a distant or a close cousin of freeform.
Um, that's a good way of putting it. That's a really good way of putting it. I think it's in the eye of the beholder, right? It's just
Mm,
like, people just, you just, it's almost like disco became, underground, and then came house, which is for, the folks who are usually marginalized, excuse me, I'm sorry, in the community.
mm,
And then, EDM, I feel like, is just more of a commercialization of what disco and house music is. You get what I'm saying?
mm. Yes, of course. Okay, how many singles have you released and what are they?
Oh wow. At this point, it's honestly getting hard for me to keep track, Miss Wizard.
That's a that's a good problem to have.
Let's see. So my first single that I put out was in 2018. That was Killer.
Mhm.
Um, I took some time off, and then last year we released So Below, TikTok, Beat Don't Stop, and we also released the Killer remix, right? I think I covered everything, I think, from
Mhm.
last year. And then this year I put out a full EP, or what I would like to call it, experience, where I released a album, and I also released a video game for mobile and for PC to coincide with the launch of the project, but also the launch of Dwarf Planet Media.
Oh, so does the video game have the music for the video game? Does it have anything to do with New Jack City?
Well, we all know New Jack City obviously is Chicago. I think our last visit when we talked, there was an incident that occurred, and ironically, that incident had occurred actually when I'd gotten home from completing the recording of the New Jack City track and creating the
Mhm.
melody and the vocal.
Mhm.
So the game has a lot to do, and the music has a lot to do with Chicago. The narrative to the game and the EP is basically, the evil Mr. Bago, takes over one sleepy New Jack City, aka Chicago, and infiltrates, the city council. And our main character, Dantès, is unfortunately chosen to aid and assist in the restoration of Chicago with a couple of sidekicks. Um, all of our history in Chicago is pretty much included in this game. Mr. Bago, obviously, you know who Mr. Bago is. All you have to do is do a little creative thinking with that. One of our bosses in the game is named Airfoot. All you have to do is just do a little creative thinking there, and you'll figure out who that is. So the game really is just a true to life narrative, as I feel like what Chicago is, and also the EP is that as well. So it's a real full out experience, and thus far the experience from what I've seen, people have been very receptive to it.
Nice. So it's very great to dance to. So it's do so is it kind of called electronic dance music because people would dance to it in clubs when if the clubs are open?
Well, the idea is always to get people to move,
Mm-hmm.
but the lyrical content of the track is somewhat deeper than what the groove or the melody
Mm-hmm.
would give away. It's a
Right.
song that talks about gun violence,
Mm-hmm.
and all of the violence that takes place in Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
um, especially towards our youth.
Right.
So I, obviously, being, birthed in this great city of ours, I wanted to conceptualize a project that was a true narrative, like I said, that I felt like everybody from Chicago could identify with.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and you included this music or the music into the video game as well. It's the whole it just intermeshes with each other, right? The video game and New Jack City.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, you got
Mm-hmm.
it. So when you download the game, the intro credits, you'll see my you'll hear my vocal
Mm-hmm.
and some of the music inside of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a full complete narrative. Even on the closing ending credits, we have some Easter eggs there, that are familiar to all of the Dantès fans, and then all of the people who've ever visited Chicago or are from Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's on PC also as well too. So that's our flagship version with 2 players. So it's a complete world and narrative that we're building around this Dantès character,
Mm-hmm.
and this New Jack City narrative. So it's a completely different world and a completely different narrative from the original iconic New Jack City.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a New Jack City that is of Dantès. So Dantès is New Jack City, which is Chicago.
And what is the name of the video game again?
Dantès New Jack City. So you guys can search for
Okay.
that on Google Play, or you
Mm-hmm.
guys can go to itch.io or dantesalexander.com to find out more information.
When you were hiring extras for the video, did any of your extras uh, become involved in also filming part of the video game?
No, no, no. In fact, our video game was actually solely developed in-house by our game development team.
Uh,
So, so that was actually, something that no one had anything else to do with but our game development team and myself.
mm-hmm.
So we all worked very hard, myself including, to create something that was original, inspiring, and uplifting. So.
Which came first, the track or the video game?
Well, the whole entire EP came first. So the New Jack City EP was actually originally entitled Rainbow Bridge. I wasn't actually going to release it. I wanted to take a break, for a little while after having a hectic year.
Mm-hmm.
But a famous friend, and also my publicist, told me, that it was imperative for me to, continue. And so I retooled the Rainbow Bridge project into New Jack City. And then around that time, like I said, there were a lot of other things going on too. We had formed a company, which I co-founded, Dwarf Planet Media, so full
Mm-hmm.
multimedia company. So yeah, so just been busy.
So did it the video game, did it come from brainstorming, or how did you get the idea for applying the New Jack City to a video game?
Well, I've always been interested and I've always been good in multimedia, regardless of whatever the medium is. I've always been blessed enough to be proficient and skilled in all of the mediums, and so it just felt like a good time to kind of uh, expand beyond the capabilities of what necessarily music can do. Um, Even with the EP, I feel like we did something different by creating an audiobook. Um, so it's not a typical, an ordinary project. It's a combination of the mediums. So it's, so that's really what all of this is, and what Dwarf Planet Media is, which is what the company now is. It's no longer Dwarf Planet Records. It's Dwarf Planet Media. We have a
Mm-hmm.
team of 8 people. Um, and we all are dedicated to this vision of um, dare I say multimedia domination, Miss Wizard.
Yes, by all means. Was it difficult for you to find a game designer firm for you?
Well, you know what? I never wanted to go about it the of trying to actually find a game designer. So I just decided to roll out my own game, development wing. I have a chief technological officer. His name is Mr. Zoom Dad. That's his alias.
Mm-hmm.
So him and myself and our lead artist, Mr. Award-winning Chicago artist Tony Bamber, all participated in the creation of this game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, keeping things in house, right? We always talk about being independent and, trying to reduce costs and keep things, within reason and within our means, within our budget. So we are now capable of not only, developing, video games and also doing, production. We also have um, some songs that are getting ready to come out by a famous group, uh, and we're also going to do video production and things like that. So there's a lot.
So you're also not producing just for yourself, but other artists could come to your firm to your company, and you would help them produce as well their art.
You know, that's a hard question. You always ask me that. But see, the hardest part is in order to be a champion of something, it has to be something that you love.
Mm-hmm.
And music is a love affair, and just like I know within the first 10 to 15 seconds if the song is going to be good or if it's going to be great or whatnot. So ideally, I would like to, help, people, develop and find their sound and their style. Uh, I like to think of our company as, Motown Records meets Skywalker Sound. I'm just excited. We have a lot of great projects, Miss Wizard, that are coming down the line. Uh, like I said, we have some famous friends who are getting ready to release a slew of projects.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm excited for him, and I'm excited for the sound that he's going to have. And I'm just excited to be a part of this community that I've been accepted into, and I'm just grateful.
You have been active in trying to help uh, the community acquire more public safety. So is this video game an extension of your activism to increase public safety?
Oh, Miss Wizard, how do you know what my ulterior motives are? Shame on you for giving that away on the air. Of course, of course, yeah. That's my way of bringing a current way of introducing a public safety announcement. It sounds
Mm-hmm.
kind of it sounds kind of lame, right? But like if you were fortunate enough to grow up in the 90s or the 80s, everybody remembers those horrible public safety announcements that always encouraged you to not do drugs or to not do this or not do that. So for me, this whole New Jack City project, the EP and the game is really a public service announcement, from me to the world about, how we can stop the gun violence, in our urban communities, increase, some surveillance, excuse me, if the police can't be in certain areas. Three, increase awareness in spirituality, self-love, um, and more importantly, God. And those are all of the things that I talk about on this project. A lot of people would not hear those lyrics. People, often hear what they want to hear. I just chose to do it in a different way to get my message across. So yeah, it's always an extension of my um, activism. Like I said, I will never ever, um, at least as Dantès anyway, um, release music I feel like people can't relate to.
Do you have any gigs, online or live?
Actually, I do have two concerts actually that are coming up this week. Actually, I have one scheduled for 4 o'clock today, but we're having some technical difficulties with all of our green screens and equipment. I want to be able to put on, obviously the best show possible for my fans. So it's actually going to be a gameplay party of the New Jack City mobile and PC game, and then also a live performance of the New Jack City single. So if today has to be rescheduled, it's okay. That just means that we're going to give the best show possible.
Mhm.
So
So is this a online show? If
yeah, absolutely, of course,
mm,
it's going to be an online show. Um, I think um, in this day and age, you have to be limber, and in order to be limber, you have to try and be everywhere at once. And um, Chicago, I have gotten a lot of emails inquiring for performances, here in Chicago. Um, at this time, it sounds very strange. It's just that I'm not interested in performing in Chicago at this time. I think being online and being able to combine a multitude of technologies to deliver a performance is almost as equal to, if not better, than being in person. How many artists can you say can actually incorporate, especially independent artists can actually incorporate, jumbotron screens and glow in the dark effects, cutting edge technology like that. So we want to be able to, always deliver.
so what you're saying is that your online show could incorporate more effects than a live show. And from some of the short clips that I've seen of New Jack City, um, the video, it's reminiscent of Max Headroom back in the 1980s, I think.
Ha 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 ha. She knows her music. It was one of my muses. Yes, absolutely.
Uh, mm, okay,
Yep,
so mhm.
definitely for the video. Yep.
You spoke before in past interviews about you're having a following in Europe. So is that the European following increasing?
Oh my goodness, Miss Wizard, the European Dantes fans. I've actually come to learn that I have a huge South America following as well too. Um,
All across South America or in some particular countries?
oh my gosh, it just scares me sometimes when I look at these places where people are listening to Dantes. I saw a clip on TikTok of someone in Ecuador a few days ago. Um,
Mm,
him and his family dancing to New Jack City.
mm,
Um, uh, a few days ago, I also got a huge tag from this electronic dance music company on Instagram with like 100,000 followers who had tagged my track Six Dimension for, track of the day. I, have been on La Creme Radio in Pisa, Spain. So, I have definitely worked very hard to increase my fan base outside of the United States, also in Germany. Uh, so, these are always places I feel like that are more receptive to, uh, I won't say real musical talent, but they're more receptive to people who have a more unified uh, approach to what it is that they're doing. Uh, Europe is always more accepting and more willing to appreciate all of the various terms of American music. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
maybe you mean that they're more accepting of experimentation.
yeah, absolutely. I think I think sometimes when you're a certain color, you get put in a box.
Mhm.
It's unfortunate, right, that we deal with these stereotypes, but sometimes you find yourself not being able to get any traction because of your color and the type of music that you may choose to release.
Mhm.
Um, which is why I've decided to release music under pseudonyms, uh, to kind of accomplish that goal of not having being bound by boxes and genres. So yeah.
So your popularity in the foreign countries, have you visited those countries or have you been able to be successful just by your online presence?
Well, I would love to visit these places. Obviously, our European countries have a much stricter approach to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Mhm.
In fact, Germany is still on lockdown right now. So I have been extended an invitation to Germany to visit, work, and create. Um, so I will eventually visit all of these places.
Mhm.
Um, I've gotten invitations to Ecuador as well. I get invitations, places to come and perform. Problem is that I do have HIV, and I try and be very um, careful with COVID-19. Um, so I always want to raise awareness about that. So it's important for me as a man who is HIV positive to take precautions with traveling to make sure that my body stays in a harmonious state.
Mhm. And so you've never traveled to Europe before, but you have been become successful in Europe.
It's funny. I have never traveled to Europe. Um, I find myself in a class of certain musicians who are successful in other countries outside of their native country. I get a lot of love and support from Chicago. I love Chicago. Chicago's always supportive of me, and
Mhm.
that's great. Um, but it's very strange when you have a level of fame like that somewhere else and you're not able to visit. So yeah, like I said, I find myself in a class of strange musicians like Anastasia. She's a Chicago native, Bridgeport. Um, Nice, beautiful Caucasian white girl with big old soulful voice, and America just couldn't handle her voice. I'm not being politically correct by saying that. I'm a person of color. I feel like I can say those things. Um, Kylie Minogue. She's extremely successful outside of Australia. I'm not saying I'm of that magnitude, but of any of these people, but it's always a humbling thing when you get love from various places.
This is WZRD Chicago 88.3 FM, and we have with us on Wizard Dantès Alexander, EDM artist, electronic dance music. That is so. When you marketed your music and also developed and created your music, was it the image that that you created from for that music? Is that the image that appealed to the Europeans? Do you think? Because in your modeling career, have you modeled for European magazines, etc.? Maybe you became familiar with what they like.
No, I have never modeled for any European fashion houses.
Oh.
Um, I have always been a student of fashion,
Mhm.
and a student of culture. I like to think of myself as a world student. Uh, I've traveled pretty much everywhere desirable in the United States, but I have yet to see the rest of the world, which I'm so anxious to do. But I think what appeals to them is that they like somebody who is unapologetically authentic. Um, and I think people like that about me. Um, I'm a very spiritual person. I also have a very no BS attitude. And I treat people with kindness, and I give everyone love. I talk to all of my fans and all of my listeners, on Instagram, um, on Facebook. We started a TikTok. I talk to them there. So these are people who are, a part of my daily life. And I think that's why I've been successful, is because I found a way to make a tangible connection with the people who listen to Dantès. Everyone likes an underdog. I have fans who, have, serious disabilities, and they find empowerment through me because I have a disability. I suffer from, HIV, and sometimes later on in life, there are certain things that come along with that, like neuropathy and all of these things that I have to, shoulder through. One of my lead engineers who, um, works for Dwarf Planet Media, who also is a co-founder, he has MS. So that's why we are successful, is because all of us are people who supposedly are disabled and who have found a way to turn their pain into authenticity. And that's what people like, you know?
Do you know if your music was popular in clubs before the pandemic, or was it just online listeners?
No, it was actually quite popular outside of the online world. I had gotten so many messages from friends that they had heard my music playing in stores, still playing in stores. Um, so it's a really humbling feeling, when you hear your record playing, inside of stores, and not only just on the radio or online. Um, but I like the fact that I am, um, putting out music that feels good to me.
Can you tell us the stores are where? Are they in the U.S. and in abroad or
Um,
both?
both. I can't name all of the stores, because it's not. It really is very tedious to look through.
Mhm.
Um,
Just the
but
general locations of them. That's all.
oh man, well, you can actually hear some of my music actually in Forever 21. You can hear them in some of the Macy's stores that are still open nationwide.
Mhm.
So it's music is a beautiful thing. I think what people fail to realize is that it's not how it used to be. Having your music being played, nationwide on any medium is a sincere and humble feeling. Uh, it's the same as being on radio. It's a great feeling. Um, and there are, stores here in Chicago, who I independently have, contracts with, outside of the major contracts to play my music, so you can hear some
Awesome.
of, you can hear some of my music in DTLR here in Chicago. Uh, you can hear them at the Connection, a couple stores here in Chicago. If you're on the south side of Chicago, you're familiar with those stores. So yeah, it's a great thing.
Well, speaking of which, since you have so much airtime in the stores, you should also be getting compensated. And at the station, we have worked with artists who have a little trouble getting their tracks properly registered so that we could track them and they could get their royalties. So, do you copyright your own work or do you hire help for your ISRC codes and other registrations to ensure that you are correctly tracked for your artist royalties?
That's a very good question. I think uh, for musicians in this day and age, I think it's important to be aware of all of the things necessary to prepare for a successful release. And one of the things that you should always look for when you are self-releasing music is you should always look for, um, if you're self-releasing music, if you're doing it um, the janky way, as I like to describe it, through like DistroKid. They do have a service where they provide, the ISRC codes for your track. That does not mean your track is copyrighted, right, Miss Wizard? You know that.
Mhm.
But before you do that, you need to register your songs with the United States Copyright Office. And there are so many different platforms that allow you to, pay per song or pay, yearly or quarterly. So, that's what you should be doing. That's how it should be done. If you're not able to do those things on your own, then you need to be with a distributor or a label who takes care of those things so you don't have to deal with it. But either way, even if you have it, the ISRC, you still have to have your music copywritten. And then you
Yes.
also have to register your songs with the publisher, which is the other aspect of it, right?
Mhm.
So you can be compensated for the creation of the lyric and also the creation of the melody. So that's a very important part of the business, and I think a lot of independent artists, especially younger kids, they don't really realize that and the importance of that. Uh, yeah, so it's very important.
A publisher is separate from a label, right?
Absolutely. So a publisher is just somebody that administers your publishing rights globally.
Mhm.
So that would be an ASCAP, a BMI, a Song Trust. So for extraterrestrial radio, extraterrestrial meaning like Pandora radio, stuff like that, that would be another PRO that would collect that. So
Well, the term that you used, publisher, is what we recognize as licenses. We have to pay for 5 licenses so that artists just register for affiliate with one of the licenses.
yeah, yep,
Mhm.
yep.
So that you
It's
could, yeah,
complicated. Oh,
right.
it's the people don't realize how complicated it is because it's really horrible when you try. It happened to me this morning. I tried to upload my own track, right, to Facebook, and it said it was muted because it was copyright. I'm like, well, it's like it's me. I'm not gonna pay for that. But yeah,
Oh, that's, yes. Well, at least we know that that could happen. Evidently, they don't recognize you yet. Maybe you could complain to Facebook and explain to them what happened.
well, I'm in the process of being verified on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all of those things. So
Okay. Yeah, then you have your blue check mark.
yeah, ooh, the all powerful blue check.
Okay. How has your work, your music work, changed through the pandemic?
I actually think my output has actually increased since the pandemic. I've been able to, um, I think, create at a 10 times faster rate than what I was already. Um, like I said, I've started creating music, already under pseudonyms, because this music obviously doesn't fit the Dantès brand and scenario. So when you have a thousand ideas, you need to be able to get them out. And the only way that I can do that, at least, from a multimedia perspective, is to continue developing other projects.
Mm-hmm.
So not only do I have, my pseudonym project that is getting ready to be released, we have two other projects from two other artists that are getting ready to come out, another video game that's getting ready to come out soon. So yeah.
So when you release the work under a pseudonym, and it's not compatible with your brand, but it's still another aspect of you, because somehow something sparked your creativity. And was it the pandemic or other aspects of the situation as well, maybe such as politics?
I think the need to just stay busy, the need to just work. Um, I think that's what has driven it. And then also, being around so many different people and environments, and I always draw inspiration from these things. So, but that's a very tricky question. You kind of stumped me on that one.
Well, creativity breeds creativity, and you're around a very creative people.
All the time. It never stops.
What lies ahead in your career?
What lies ahead in my career, at least for the remainder of this year? Um, I have, like I said, I have another release from myself under an alias that's getting ready to come out. I have Chase Banks, who is a phenomenal artist who's getting ready to release this project. And then I have superstar Frank Naples, who's also going to release this project. And then we also have a remix, a 25th anniversary remix that's getting ready to come out by an iconic dance group, which I'm just so excited and humbled to be a part of. And then I also have another song that an iconic dance group member is going to be doing. And so that's the rest of the year for Dantès.
Mm. You also said that you hired some extras for the video. Has that video come out? We might have missed it.
No, the video has not come out yet. So the video
Mm.
is going to be coming out in a few hours.
Oh, well,
Maybe 4 o'clock, maybe five. I don't know. I like to be spontaneous and just
mhm,
release.
of course. Well, be sure to let us know about it. Do you have any other announcements? And then how do our listeners get a chance to uh, view your video?
Oh, great. So this is what I'm actually going to do. I'm probably going to start a frenzy right now at WZRD. We're going to run an exclusive promotion with you guys, or we would like to. We are going to be releasing 10 exclusive free download codes for the Google Play game. Okay, Dantes' New Jack City on Google Play. Okay, for the first 10 callers that call in and request New Jack City. Okay, so all of our listeners call in, request New Jack City. Our Duchess of Protocol, Miss Wizard here, will ensure that you have access to the Dantes New Jack City game for free. I'll make sure that all of the staff over at WZRD do get a copy of the PC game, I would imagine, for everyone over there. And yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. I appreciate all of the love and support that you guys have continuously uh, given me. I'd also like to give a special shout out to our alderman and our president of the Chamber of Commerce here in Rogers Park, Mr. Bill Morton. Mr. Bill Morton, I want to say thank you. God bless you. I believe in our partnership and our magic, and I think that we can continue to change things here. You guys can go to dantesalexander.com to learn more about me And or you can go to Google and just type in New Jack City Dantès, and you'll find everything that you should find.
Okay, awesome. And listeners, instead of calling in, you may also email the station at, and we will definitely see who are the first 10 emails that arrive asking for the free download of New Jack City. So the email is info@wzrdchicago.org. Again, info@wzrdchicago.org.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dantès. Well, good luck to you in all your future projects, all your work, all your activism, and be safe, be healthy, and stay happy.
God bless you all. I love you guys.
Thank you. And let us listen one more time to New Jack City.